All right. Sorry, everyone, about that short delay, but we also received a $45 donation from Zaw, $10 for each mess up, and $5 to give money back to the cast that he borrowed from. And this is going towards the Final Fantasy IV sprite choice that is still up. So if you do have some money you want to put down for an incentive, that is one that we're currently running right now. But now we are ready. We have coming up right now, Phantom running Paper Mario, any percent glitchless, I believe. So take it away.
All right. So, honestly, I'm probably just gonna go right in because we have a lot of time to do introductions during Prologue. So I'll give a countdown. We can start the timer in 3, 2, 1, go. So, Paper Mario, RPG. You'd think text mashing. I'm just holding the B button. It scrolls as fast as possible. No need to literally ever mash. So, in the beginning here, we get a letter from Peach. We're gonna go to Peach's castle. We're gonna fight Bowser. Probably lose. And then watch Mario die. But, after we get to the castle, we can kind of go over how movement is generally going to be. This is Luigi. By the way, there is a bid war going on. At the end of the run, we get to either take Luigi with us to a party or abandon him and leave him at home. So if you want to save 10 seconds, I suggest donating towards Abandon Luigi. It'd be greatly appreciated. It's 10 whole seconds, guys. Come on.
And actually, about that, for anyone who's interested in that, we currently have $62 towards Bring Luigi and $20 towards Abandon. So if we want to save that 10 seconds, we're going to need to put some more money into that Abandon Luigi option.
Yeah, so you will notice that I'm spinning a lot. Spinning is the fastest form of movement, and we will be doing it for the entire run. Right now, our spin is pretty slow, but it will get faster with the help of a badge after Chapter 1 called Speedy Spin. Part of the Speedy Spin routing will be, we'll need 50 coins to buy it. So for the early game, we'll be routing in a lot of little coin pickups along the way for the 75% chance of getting a badge that will make the run significantly faster. And if we get 25%ed, we lose 26 seconds. So, I don't know how Bowser got his castle under Peach's castle, but it is. Important question, will you be saving before Fuzzies? Probably not in this one. I will be saving in a few sort of risky spots, for sure though. There will be a few bosses where I will not willingly go in without saving at the 2% chance of dying. I have been doing a lot of runs the past couple weeks going for PB, so I will point out that I'm not using the same route that I will be during PBs. I will be using a much safer route. If I was doing a PB attempt, the route that I would be using has a slightly weighted coin flip in our favor to defeat Bowser. The route that I'm using instead has a 100% chance of defeating Bowser. So, at the cost of a little bit of time, we can actually guarantee that we will win the fight. So Bowser's invincible. It's kind of a lie. He's not actually invincible right now. He has 1 defense with that star shield. Unfortunately, we can only do 1 damage, so for all intents and purposes, he is invincible. Fun fact about Star Shield, the way it's coded in this game, during this scene, it gives Bowser 1 defense. Later on, it will give Bowser +4, because we're on JP, unpierceable defense. In English, it only gives him 3. But we're on JP because the Japanese version, the text is significantly faster. And estimate about like 3 minutes over the course of an entire glitchless run that we saved just by having less text. And Mario's dead. So, watch Mario fall from space, I guess. And we get a title card.
On that very cheery note, we received a $10 donation from Illegally Sam that says Luigi deserves no love, putting that towards the abandoned Luigi instead.
Let's go, Sam. So, we get a short cutscene here. The Star Spirits use their remaining power to resurrect Mario because he is actually dead. Just canon fact, Mario does die at the beginning of this game. You saw, well, you didn't see, because it's in the pre-title screen cutscene. The Star Spirits were sealed away by Bowser because he somehow just broke in and stole the Star Rod. Didn't seem like it was that difficult for him. So, I feel like they should do a better job in the future of protecting it. This is Goombaria. She finds Mario's basically dead body in the forest and brings it home. And Goomba Village, not a whole lot is going on here. This is mostly a lot of tutorial. We're going to be trying to just get out of Prologue as fast as possible. Not that Prologue is necessarily bad. There's a lot of interesting movement that we do. It's just that we get interrupted a lot by cutscenes. Where the later game, we mostly just get to play. The early part, the first like 20 minutes or so, you get 20 to 30 seconds of movement followed by 30 to 40 seconds of cutscene. So, just a very big constant that we have here. We love Prologue. Debatable, but it is a common chat sentiment. So the gate's locked, and just as Goompapa was about to let us leave, Hammy puts a very difficult obstacle on our path. A big yellow block. If only we had a hammer. Well, you know who has a hammer? Goomba. Because he was using it to fix the veranda. And I don't know how Goomba was using the hammer, because he doesn't have hands, but we don't question Goombas. And Mario falls again. So, he did just repair it. So, he dropped the hammer, apparently in the playground. I don't know how it fell all the way over there, but it's not too far. So this is where we're going to start our coin routing. This block has 10 coins for us. And this is our actual tutorial fight. As opposed to the Bowser fight that we had earlier, Junior Troopa. This is how we effectively get our first bit of experience. So, throughout the game, I'll be mostly jumping. Very, very rarely do I ever use the hammer, just because jump is so much faster. Part of the jump animation also, you may notice well, you may not notice, but I'm mashing the A button. Because at the start of Mario's jump squat, if you press the A button, it cancels the entire jump squat, which is about 10 frames. So every single jump I'm doing, I'm trying to cancel those 10 frames of jump squat, and it adds up a lot over the course of the entire run. So that was Junior. I'm sure we'll never see him again. I'm not hitting that heart block because I don't need to. This fire flower, though, I do need for a upcoming fight. And clear. You may notice that I'm not doing any encounters. We only do the required encounters. Anything optional in the way would severely hurt our experience, because we want to level up at very specific points. If we level up in the wrong spots, it can kind of just make the next fight impossible, for better or worse. And this is our badge, our first badge, Power Jump. Goomba is going to try and teach us how to use it, and we are going to say no. So, now that we have our badge, and we've told Goomba we don't want him to teach us how to use the equipment menu, we are forcibly given Goombario. He will be used in 4 fights. So, Goombario is unfortunately required. Unlike in Rendo's, we actually have to use him. And these are the red and blue Goombas, or flavored Goombas, as some like to call them. What flavors are they? It's up to you. You could go with blueberry, raspberry, strawberry, some combination. But we use the fire flower here to kill them both at the same time, because if you do kill one before the other, they will have about, I think it's 2 or 3 text boxes of dialogue and a crying animation that you killed their brother. So the fire flower is convenient enough to just skip that. And once again, we'll be fighting red and blue Goomba, this time with Goomba King. After the Goomba King stomps around in his castle a little bit. So, we're almost out of, like, the monotonous part of Prologue, I guess I could say. There's still another almost 10 minutes of this, but we're almost to Toad Town after this fight. And 2 very long cutscenes. So the Goomba King here has 2 attacks. One of them is 2 frames faster. So hopefully, he stomps on the ground and shakes the Goom Nuts out of the tree. And what does he do? Yeah. 2 frames. His other attack is a little kick. He walks over to you, spins around, and kicks Mario in the face. But that is 2 frames slower than, I believe it's 2 frames? Something like that. Than just dropping the nuts from the tree. So now, this switch, conveniently placed to destroy the fortress. I don't know. Well, no, I think it was red or blue Goomba that like hid the switch outside. I don't remember the English dialogue too well. It's been 15 plus years since I've read the dialogue in this game. But I don't know why he decided to stand up there, but there he goes. Goomba King gone. Not sure where red and blue Goomba went. You may notice that when I was going through that little fortress, because I'm playing on N64, there was a lot of lag. Just a ton of lag just going through that fortress, because there's so much geometry that it's checking collision with, even though it's pretty much irrelevant. It could have just been a box, but unfortunately they didn't design it that way. We get a little cutscene here with the Koopa brothers, who will be the first boss. Not much of a boss, but you can't ask for much in Chapter 1. They show off something Bowser's impressed with off screen. I have no idea what it is because we never see it. Of course, we're still probably 20 or so minutes away from that fight. And now, Toad Town. So I need to go to Shooting Star Summit to see the Star Spirits again. So we're gonna just spin our way through Toad Town and go up the mountain. We've got, honestly, a couple minutes if Genesis wants to talk about Go Pet Rescue. Be a pretty good time.
Sure, let me pull up the play.
All right, so in 2011, a woman named Georgia Obenhouse lost her home, and her only focus became how to prevent her family dogs from going back to animal control. Starting out with just an empty shell of a building, Go Rescues soon became not just a place for her current rescues, but a shelter that has grown to rescue over 2,000 dogs to date with no signs of slowing down. They work to provide a haven for homeless dogs, giving them the time, care, and love they need to find not just any home, but the right home. So we were raising money for Go Rescue, and they can always use supplies to keep the pups happy and healthy. They accept many different kinds of food if you happen to be nearby. You can also go to their website, gorescuedogs.com, and go to the How Can I Help tab to get items on their Amazon wishlist.
So there you go. And if you donate $33 towards Abandoned Luigi, we can save 10 seconds at the end of the run. And it also goes towards dogs. So this is Peach is getting introduced to Twink, who is just knocking on her window. If a star knocks on your window, I guess why not just open it? Sure. Don't question it, just open the door. So Peach is gonna give Twink the Lucky Star, and he'll bring it down to Mario, along with the tutorial that we will hopefully say no to. But the important part about this is the Lucky Star will now effectively give us the core mechanic of the game. So, we will now be able to do action commands in battle. That means Mario will be doing more damage and also taking less damage, generally. With very well-timed button presses. So in addition to the quick jumps I was talking about earlier, with skipping Mario's jump squat animation with a timed A press, I will be timing the A press again to do extra damage. Of course, there's a little bit of issue if you accidentally try and skip the jump squat too late. It counts towards your action command as failed, so just gotta be very careful about that. So we skip the tutorial, and then we have to do what is effectively the tutorial fight. So we're fighting a Magic Koopa with the power of action commands. 4 damage with power jump instead of the 3 that we were doing earlier. Hardest attack to block in the game, by the way. Not even joking, that attack does lag a little bit, so unlike other Magic Koopas, the timing is a little bit different. So even if you're used to like late game Magic Koopa's attacks, that first one is going to be a little later than the others. We're almost out of Prologue though. So back into Toad Town, we're going to talk to some suspicious looking toads. And these toads are blocking our path to Pleasant Path. And subsequently Koopa Village and the Koopa Brothers Fortress. So we go over here to Merlon with his incredible house with the spinning roof that also lags the game. Merlon tells us his life story, Mario falls asleep. This is going to be pretty typical of Mario throughout the game whenever anyone talks to him. He doesn't really pay attention very well. So, over here to Merlon. And he will deal with the Toad Menace. And he casts Thunder Rage, which is an item that we have to find. He just kind of had that in his pocket, I guess. Who would have guessed they're actually the Koopa Brothers? So, off to Koopa Village. Also, I'm picking up a Fright Jar here. That is going to be the first piece of actual RNG we have in the run. So, that RNG from Fright Jar will come into play pretty shortly. And also another 10 coins here. This gives us a total of 27, so we're gonna buy some POW blocks and a Fire Flower, with which to be doing most of the Chapter 1 fights with. Koopa Village is overrun by fuzzies. If you're used to English Paper Mario, I want you to pay special attention to the fuzzy minigame we're about to do. Also, if you're in chat, feel free to guess which trees they're going to be in. There are 4 trees, and they will go to 3 of them. So something like 313 or 212 or 223. A pretty good guess. But on the 3rd bounce in Japanese, the fuzzies move incredibly fast. So I actually will be counting in my head, or aloud, depending on how things go, how many bounces they do, to be able to tell what tree they're in. Because your eyes can play tricks on you. I see some guesses. Let's see how these go. The first two are pretty easy. You can kind of just follow it with your eyes. That was a lot of bounces, though. Second one, still easy, but pay attention on the third one. Oh. I'm gonna be counting here. Okay. Not terrible RNG, honestly. 2-1-1 is pretty good. Having to go around the tree is a little bad, but that's fine. So what I'm doing there was with my counting, because you saw how fast that they move. I'm starting my count from 0, and if it's an even number of times that they bounce, then it'll either be in the same tree or 2 trees over. If it's an odd number, it'll be in the other trees. So the tree immediately to the side, basically. And fuzzies have 3 HP. Now this is gonna be the first like major deviation from the route if I'm doing PB attempts, because I'm gonna pick up a badge here. And this badge that I'm picking up will be used in exactly one place. And that's Bowser, in about 3 hours. So that HP plus badge, we pick it up here to get a consistent 100% chance of beating Bowser. It's a somewhat slower fight than optimal, but at the expense of turning the fight into a 50-50 by skipping it, we're gonna just take it and eat the 45 seconds to a minute. I will point out in a few other places where we're kind of just planning for final Bowser throughout the run, because that does come up quite a bit. This Paratroopa is kind of a nightmare. Sometimes he just hits you and there's nothing you can do. I took that a little slowly, but at the expense of not getting hit, I'll take it. And this is the first dungeon. Koopa Brothers Fortress is mostly fights, so we'll be doing a lot of combat, unlike some of the later dungeons where we'll be mostly skipping combat. Okay, he saw me. This is also going to be our first level up. And we can't kill this bomb because he has 3 HP, so we will simply take the damage. And level up. We're going to want FP for a while. Eventually we will be getting more BP, but for now there's not a whole lot to equip. So in this room also here is literally the best badge in the game. And they give it to you in Chapter 1. We won't be using it until Chapter 3, but it's kind of nice that they just give it to you right away. That's Power Bounce. You'll see in a while why it's so good, but oh, hi. This Koopa was staring right at me and didn't come, so we had to go over to him. But that's fine. Something I haven't mentioned yet, during some of these encounters when you end the fight, Mario like does a little thumbs up towards the camera, but by holding a direction on the stick, that animation's canceled immediately. So I am buffering a direction out of pretty much every fight, just to skip those little few frames of thumbs up. So over here is our beloved pit. The second fight in the pit is where a lot of runners aren't particularly fond of, I guess. There is a 90% chance on 2 paratroopas for Fright Jar to work on either of them. And we want it to work on both. So 10% chance that we just don't get lucky. 2% chance we get really, really unlucky. That's not even the right ability. That's bad. That's fine. We can make up for that. Yeah, I can back that up. How am I gonna back that up? It's gonna be a little slow, but I can do it. That helps. That helps a lot. So normally if I got a POW block drop there, I would be doing a set of different fights, but I'm going to need that for a backup because I accidentally used the Fire Flower. So these fire bars do give you 10 coins each, which we do need. So I need 50 coins by the time I leave chapter 1, basically. And surely this room is not a trap. Surely this block will not cause us to fall again down another hole. But yeah, chapter 1, not a whole lot really happens, and it is kind of slow because we still have basic spin. But we will be getting a new partner now. Bombette is very useful. Basically, it invalidates Cooper. Already. This is pretty much the last we'll see of Cooper. Except for a couple switches that we have to hit. So Bombette will be doing a lot of damage, and she will get AoE in chapter 2, which will basically clear that entire chapter. So by facing right there, I save 1 frame of Bombette walking, but it's just a simple spin anyway. This fight is, okay. Normally, since I got the POW block drop, I would use it here, but instead we're just gonna save the POW block for the boss fight. And I should have 41 coins here, and I'll get 10 more. From the cannons at the end. That mushroom was I think 5% chance of dropping. And you don't necessarily like to see it, because it will mess with my menuing. Here, I'm definitely going to do something that is not a glitch. It is just jumping. Trust. This is a glitchless category, and we are just doing jumps. Hopefully. So, I'm gonna try and focus for this. These are pie jumps. This saves a very small amount of time. And loses a lot if you miss it. Okay. We're good. So if I were to miss those jumps, that loses about 45 seconds. And overall, it saves about 10. If you get them fast. It's not a ton of time, but might as well do it. So up here we're gonna have the cannons. So I'm gonna be jumping over bullet bills, making sure not to get hit. If I get hit, I have to run away. And running away means I lose coins. And as I said, I need those coins. So we will ideally not be getting hit and losing our money. There are backups if I, for some reason, don't have enough coins. But ideally, we just have the 50 we need. Leaving here. So the Koopa brothers set the cannons to fire and promptly leave off screen. These cannons are RNG. I don't know when they will fire, and I have to just purely react. And, okay. So Bombette's first strike is easily the strongest thing in the game. It is just her bomb attack, which normally costs FP, but instead is done for free. So, nice, easy cannon fight. We got all the coins, and here we go. First boss fight. So phase 1, we're gonna have fake Bowser. This is a giant wooden Bowser. In phase 2, we're gonna have the Koopa brothers. Like, actually. I need to think about how I'm going to do this backup a little bit. I think we're fine. We'll get to show off a funny animation. If I have any Paper Mario fans in chat, I'm sure they know what it looks like when Bombette does a failed action command with her body slam. It's pretty funny, and we'll get to show that off, I guess. You don't normally see this in a speedrun, but make do with what you can. So the Koopa brothers here, they come down pre-stacked. So casually, if you're doing this fight, you probably know that you need to hit them twice to knock them over. However, Bomb also just knocks them over instantly. Very, very convenient. Be careful not to use the mushroom. That will simply sit in my inventory for the rest of the game. And Bomb. So, this will be a little slower than usual, but not too bad. They should still be knocked over, and then they'll die this turn. So really only one extra turn than if we had the Fire Flower. And chapter 1's done. So, some people that are new to watching Paper Mario speedruns, when they're seeing someone's splits, they see, oh, You defeated the Koopa brothers. You still have 30 seconds before the chapter ends. Except this card takes 31 seconds to spawn, so a lot of Paper Mario speedrun watchers get baited a little bit with how long this card takes. But there we go. Chapter 1. So, we're gonna intermission to Peach. I am going to... Probably not... Well, I guess I'll just hit save. You save 2 frames by not saving, but I will be saving frequently enough anyway. Later on in the game, might as well just start hitting it now. This Peach scene is the first one where we can control Peach in any meaningful manner. And we're gonna go read Bowser's diary. Peach is just that kind of person. I don't know how she couldn't tell there was a secret passage behind there when it's very clear through the fire that there's just an open walkway, but pressing the button apparently puts out the fire. And no one ever notices or ever does anything about this little carousel thing. Even when Bowser and Cammy see Peach using it, nothing is ever done about it. I don't think they really care about like what she's doing in the castle. Because she should definitely be more tightly guarded than she is. So, Peach just read where the second Star Spear is held, and Twink is going to tell Mario. This is also coming up here. We have our favorite part of RNG. Do we get Speedy Spin? 75% chance, by the way. And since this is a marathon, I wouldn't be surprised if we have to reset for it. Rather, reset the room. To reset Ralph's shop for Speedy Spin, you have to go 2 rooms away, which does take about 26 seconds with optimal movement. My personal best is resetting Ralph's shop 7 times for Speedy Spin. I have that as a clip on my channel where I'm just mid-run, like, well, the run's already gone. Let me keep going until I see when he gives me Speedy Spin. The world record is 9th try Speedy by Sunta during an all cards attempt a few years ago. So, the record for Speedy resets is pretty old at this point. I think most people that I know have a 6th try. And newer runners probably might have seen nothing more than a 3 or a 4. We do have to beat up this egg. Unfortunately, he came back. I don't know why he didn't learn his lesson the first time. Surely this time, though. This is a 3-turn fight with good RNG in Chapter 1. We can actually make this a 2-turn fight. But either way, it's a matter of 6 seconds difference. He's surprised that you can deal damage to him through his shell, because he has created the ultimate defense of going back inside. And notice that Power Jump is doing 3 because he does have defense. And same with Bomb doing 4. Normally it would do 5. And for Hammer fans, this is our only real use of Hammer. I believe that is the only time we use Hammer in combat without a badge. Yeah. We will be using a Quake badge later, but that is the only raw Hammer in the game. In the run, at least. I know casually, when I was a kid, I used a ton of Hammer because I was just bad at the jump action command. which I feel like I've heard some other people say also. Relying a lot on Power Smash and other hammer badges. So how is Ralph feeling today? Let's go! Marathon RNG. So this is what we do. We go 2 rooms away. This is a pretty quick set of rooms to go through. And then we see if Ralph wants us to have Speedy Spin. Every attempt is a 75%. There we go. That menu looked very weird to me because I'm not used to seeing HP+. But that shouldn't be a problem for equipping anything. This is our first magical seed. We need 4 of them to go into chapter 6. So we're just going to collect them throughout the game. And off we are to Mount Rugged. After a train ride. So Mount Rugged is probably my favorite place to just move around. It just feels so rewarding to move on Mount Rugged with Speedy Spin, because basically every single platform or every step is spaced perfectly for a full spin with Speedy. So you kind of just get to move. And once you've learned it, it feels great. We are also going to be taking a visit to Waka. So if you're a Waka fan, I suggest looking away in probably about 20 seconds from now, because his bumps are delicious and we do need one. So right up here, Parakarry. Also one of the best partners for the speedrun. We will be using him quite a bit. His single target shell shot is just too perfect for the fights that we use him in. So that Wacka Bump will come in handy very shortly. I need to keep in mind that the menu is different because I have a mushroom drop. But that's fine. So we need to collect 3 letters for Parakarry that he dropped on Mount Rugged because he's so good at his job. Okay. So 2 letters. We're also going to be picking up a badge over here. We don't equip this badge until much later in the run. But it is a very nice badge that will make it so when we block an attack, we take 1 less damage than we normally would. So normally we block and take 1 less damage. With damage dodge on, we will block and take 2 less. But this isn't relevant until much later. I believe it's used in 3 fights effectively. All boss fights for chapter 6, 7, and then Bowser. So now that we have the 3 letters, we're gonna bring them back to Parakarry, obtain our new partner, and move on to the desert. Casually, I'm sure that a lot of people probably got lost in the desert, or you just went straight right to Dry Dry Outpost. The desert routing we have is pretty specific. We're going to be picking up some coins also for shopping, because we do need to buy stuff at Dry Dry Outpost. Specifically, we need to buy a dried shroom and a dusty hammer so that we can talk to Mustafa. But then we also need to buy a thunderbolt. for a fight in Dry Outpost, or Dry Ruins. So, over here, if this wasn't glitchless, I would do a very fun trick called Bazaar Skip. Unfortunately, we do have to talk to Bazaar and lie about who we are. We will not be doing this fight. This fight, it's slow if you don't have the perfect setup for it. And the perfect setup is usually using Watt, our Chapter 4 partner, in, say, a 100% or all bosses speedrun. So, off into the desert. You may know that there's the Oasis. We do want to go there for the upgrade block to upgrade Bombette. And we also want to grab 8 coins from a block right over here. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So with 9 coins, I can do all my shopping at Dry Outpost. We are also going to pick up a hidden block that contains a life shroom. That life shroom is hopefully used for Bowser, but it is also a backup in Chapter 4. Because there's a fight that we have to do that has a 2% chance of just killing Mario. So the life shroom is a backup for that fight, as well as if it isn't used then, it will be used on Bowser. And I will be picking up a few more life shrooms later on, just for the sake of safety. When I'm entering Final Bowser, I should probably have 3 or 4, just in case I miss a block or something. Although it shouldn't be an issue. Hi, Quizmo. This room having Quizmo in it is the worst nightmare for some people. Quizmo does add a little bit of lag, but it's not like really. You're not going to notice it very often. So, Dried Shroom, Dusty Hammer, so we can speak to Malstafa, and a Thunderbolt for a fight in the ruins. There is a trick you can do there where you can jump in a very specific way to skip walking all the way to the right side of this room. It saves a little bit of time, but it's also very difficult, and with Quizmo and the Archaeologist Koopa there, it's pretty much just not going to happen, even if you're good at the trick. Which, spoilers, I am probably not. The amount of time Outpost jump saves has not been worth it for me. But, off to the ruins. We're going to have another, 40-second cutscene as the ruins rise from the sand. So, if there's anything Genesis wants to talk about in that time, before I go in the ruins, it's a good chance.
We don't really have anything else at the moment, but I can mention, again, for this current run, we do still have the Brain vs. Abandoned Luigi poll still up, so if you guys want to put some money in that bid war, we have $62 for Bring Luigi and $30 for Abandon. So if you guys want to add any more donations to that to try to, save the little bit of time by abandoning Luigi, you guys should get on top of that.
Absolutely. We skip Luigi, obviously, in every speedrun. It is 10 seconds. And technically a glitch, but it's so easy to do that Glitchless does allow it. I could theoretically see it accidentally happening to someone, but it's still, somewhat intentional that you have to do the input for. Also, you may notice I hammered there to pick up the spike shield that was inside the coffin before it even opens. It's a little time save trick called spike shield early. It's not super hard to do. It's just 2 precise spin angles, and the item pickup on hammer takes priority over hitting the enemy. So it's very friendly to just grab the spike shield badge, which we will use in exactly 1 fight. Now, Ruin's movement is very weird. You may notice, and if you haven't seen this before, it's going to ruin it for you. The ruins are curved. So every single room in the ruins is very slightly curved. And when Mario spins in the ruins on this curve, he follows the original direction and doesn't adjust along the curve. So what that means is a straight left angle will look like it's going basically back. And you kind of have to account for that, or more towards the camera rather. So it can be a little tricky to get used to, and does cause a lot of pain for new runners. We have to do these 3 Poke fights. This does get us a Ruins key, and we do it in a very specific order, because we will do a partner swap on the last one, rather the middle one. And here's the Thunderbolt that we bought. And this is an instance of Bombette first striking. This Bombette first strike is admittedly very difficult because sometimes the Poke just does that. I was gonna say because Bombette's hitbox is very small. I've never seen the Poke walk that far though. There we go. And now, Parakarry, with his first appearance of the game in battle, Shell-Shotting a Swooper. Shell-Shot is going to be used a lot. And we're going to get our first upgrade. This is going to be our Super Hammer. It won't be relevant at all for combat, but it will let us break stone blocks, which we will find here in these ruins, and nowhere else that we go in the speedrun. But we do need it. And we will also be performing a trick called Slow Go Skip, where we don't go grab the hidden secret badge called Slow Go. I know that's disappointing to probably a lot of people watching. Slow Go is a very liked badge by many Paper Mario viewers. It's a 0 BP badge that when equipped makes Mario walk slow. And it also disables your spin completely. So equipping it does in fact make the game much slower. And it is hidden behind the Super Hammer chest there. So we're gonna come over here, do a little bit of not backtracking really, but we will be soon backtracking through the ruins to grab the 3 stones. Pyramid Stone, Diamond Stone, Lunar Stone. And this is our Parakarry upgrade. This gives Parakarry an ability called Airlift, which we'll be making use of later, potentially. There is a chance we skip using Airlift if we're really lucky. And that was our Whack-Us Bump. Entirely just for 15 FP. But it lets us do these Bombette fights. There's really no better way to get 15 FP at this point. So the Whack-Us Bump is just convenient on Mount Rugged. Not that I am skipping the coins, because I don't need them. We don't need coins at all for the rest of the run. So any coins we do get are just kind of superfluous. They serve no purpose at all now. But they do lag the game in certain situations where we have to run away. So ideally I would get no coins for the rest of the run, but that's unlikely. So I did mention Bombette's hitbox is very weird. Very small, except for that. That first strike, it feels so much easier than every other Bombette first strike in the game. It's kind of crazy. Just how free she hits that Stone Chomp. Where with the Pokey, for instance, she almost never hits it unless it's right on top of her. So, this room is supposed to tell us the solution to the puzzle in Dry Ruins. Luckily, it's always the same, so we just know where to put the stones. And third fight here, it's just another pair of Stone Chomps. They're all the same. It's just a matter of how they encounter you is different. Like this one encounters you when you actually grab the Lunar Stone. Okay. So, the Toot and Koopa fight coming up. It's very easy to make a mistake here. I will save on the off chance I do make that mistake, but since I'm so aware of it, I take these menus a little slowly. But there is a chance that you menu incorrectly and you attack the Chain Chomp the Toot and Koopa summons. It does take a little bit of effort not to shell shot the Chomp. So I'll make this my first save of the game. I don't foresee myself messing this up, but who knows, nerves could say otherwise. This fight is very easy. It's just also very easy to miss menu. And you'll see why probably on turn 2. If you're trying to menu quickly, it's very, very easy to just accidentally attack the Chomp. Or miss an action command on Toot and Koopa. So, after turn 1, all he does, summons Chomp. No need to kill it. Because we have perfect damage on Toot and Koopa. 3 power jumps and 3 shell shots is an exact kill. What did I say? So I am a few damage short. Shouldn't matter. Okay. This is a very once in a lifetime run. It's not every day you see Shell Shot the Chomp actually, well, Power Jump the Chomp, I guess. But because I hit all the blocks, it didn't really matter. It took an extra turn. Not a big deal. But, so that menu there, when you're menuing to the right on Toot and Koopa, It is a little laggy, but that's usually why you take it very slow. And that's our second star spirit. So Mamar gives us Lullaby, which we will never use. There is actually only one star spirit power we do use in the speedrun. And, well, there are two others we can use as backups, but ideally there's only one that we ever have to use. And that is Starstorm, which we only use in one fight, but it will see a little bit of use. So back to Peach. And this time she's gonna make it out of the room entirely and into the hall to go to the library. Basically, Peach just goes room to room between every chapter. Every chapter she says, let's go to a different room. This one is affectionately called Metal Gear Peach by some people. I have seen it in actual routes that I've read, where you perform Metal Gear Peach during this cutscene, because it is simply stealthing through the library. No chance of getting caught here. And so easy. The Koopas unfortunately can't hear. They can only see straight in front of them, except that guy. Sometimes that guy decides to see, like, into the little alcove that you're in. But that's why I walked so far up, because he can definitely spot you if you're too far down. And it has happened. There's only a couple Koopa trolls in Peach's castle that are scary to move around, and that is definitely one of them. So we're gonna grab an item here in the desert. It's a hidden item. It's a Thunder Rage. Very similar to the Thunderbolt we got earlier, except it hits every enemy, which we'll be using on a fight with a single enemy. But it's just so convenient to grab this on the way back. And it just so happens we need the damage. We need exactly the damage that provides. And now we get to do Reverse Mount Rugged, which, not as good as Forward Mount Rugged, but it's still a pretty fun bit of movement. Unfortunately, those steps in particular are a little tight. And once again, our name is Luigi. Don't question it. Didn't have to fight Buzzar. We're good. And it is faster to fall and take the spring than to use Paracarry. Unfortunately, Paracarry's ability is pretty slow, but required for where he is used. So on those item pickup prompts, what I do is I'm spinning the stick to clear them as fast as possible. You could clear them with a button press, but since they clear from any input whatsoever, it's a lot easier just to spin the stick around and hit multiple inputs than it is to time a button press. And now we take the train back to Toad Town, except this time we can skip the cutscene. Some cutscenes are skipped, well, most of them like this are skipped by mashing A and B. The chapter intro prompts, we mash A and start to get through them quickly. Chapter 3 here is probably one of the most tense sections of the game. This and Chapter 4, for reasons that we'll see in a little bit, once we get to the Tubba's castle. But we will be picking up the second of our very important badge loadout for Mario. The accompaniment to Power Bounce. Effectively. A badge called Mega Rush. So, Mega Rush, what it does is it gives Mario +4 attack when he's in peril. What that means is being at 1 HP. And that +4 attack works with Power Bounce. A jump that you keep bouncing effectively until you drop the A button press, but the game does cap you. And we'll talk about caps a lot later as they come up. But before we can even do any of that, we have to get to Boo's Mansion. Okay. The fuzzies in the forest here are primarily RNG. It's not very often that this first one gets you. But if they just happen to jump too low to the ground towards Mario, you can kind of just get unlucky. Luckily, there's only 2 fuzzies that we have to care about, and that's the first one. Now, if anyone playing casually missed that magical seed, I feel very bad for them. Because I can see it being very easy to just accidentally miss that one in particular. There's also a bunch of hidden items in the forest. Well, 2. There's 2 hidden badges, HP plus and FP plus. That if you take different paths than the actual required path that I'm taking, you can get to the rooms that they're in. And I'm not sure how you're supposed to find them, because the intended path is pretty obvious, but the hidden paths are pretty difficult to notice. But here's Boo's Mansion. This entire area is RNG. Not terrible RNG, but what would a RPG be like without some RNG minigames? So the Boos are gonna basically play keep away with us, and we're gonna have to follow which one is holding the item we want a couple times. And how long it takes for those minigames to effectively let you move is a few seconds of RNG, give or take. This first one's pretty simple. They just drop the record onto one Boo. And hopefully he doesn't drop it on the left side, because depth perception is very difficult to tell which one he gives it to if he does that. Okay, we're good. So if he were to give that to the Boo effectively 1 or 2 higher, or 1 or 2 before that, in that little sequence, it can be pretty tricky, because it looks like he's giving it to either one sometimes. Like, it could be a 50-50. Just because of how depth works in a game that looks like paper. And this Boo in particular also, as he's coming over to the record player, he dances randomly. He did take a little while. He was dancing off screen. You couldn't quite tell. At least if he's going to dance, he should come on screen first, so that you can actually see what he's doing. So we're going to get our boots upgrade here. Super boots is what we'll be using for the next 2 hours almost. Not 2 hours, maybe like hour and a half. It takes a very long time to go from super boots to ultra boots. And honestly, a pretty long time to go from super hammer to ultra hammer as well. They give you the first 2 upgrades pretty early on, and then you get a break in chapter 4 with pretty much no upgrade at all before getting the ultra hammer in chapter 5. And the ultra boots in particular, you don't even get until after chapter 6. So it's really a ways until that. Technically, you could get them in chapter 6, but it's a lot slower than just doing it after. So, hit the big switch with our new boots. It's kind of funny to me. Super boots are a lot more relevant than super hammer is, both in terms of combat and overworld progress. Because super boots also let you flip hidden panels for star pieces, which we won't be doing, but in, say, something like 100%, where we need all the star pieces, as soon as you get super boots, you can start doing that. Whereas super hammer doesn't give you any kind of access. So, Boo's Mansion, all done. It's 3 minigames. We get boots. We go see Bo. Bo is going to be a very good partner for the end, but we're not going to be using her much until the end of chapter 8, really. The last 3 fights in the game. She doesn't really see much use. Her main ability, Out of Sight, doesn't really help us for the longest time. It can make some fights safer, but again, it doesn't really help any kind of consistency, so we have other backups instead of needing to use Bow. So off to Gusty Gulch. It's a little weird that we did so much without having to really go near enemies. It definitely feels like Boo's Mansion would have maybe an encounter in it. But the boos in this game are pretty nice. There's no reason to ever fight them. In fact, we're helping them by defeating Tubba. Who we are about to meet now. So this is Stanley. He is a boo that lives in this town. Say goodbye to Stanley. As Mario hides inside of Bo. I don't know why Stanley didn't decide to disappear as well, but goodbye, Stanley. And off we go. We will be grabbing an item here for chapter 4. So that's a repel gel. It's very similar to using Out of Sight with Bow, except it's an item and it lasts 2 turns. So Mario becomes intangible for 2 turns, and we will be using that later. So I'm gonna go in here. I will save the second time I come into Tubba's Castle for the sake of safety. Not that I have ever died here in the last 8 months, but we do need to take some damage. We need to take 8 or 9 damage specifically, and this Klubba encounter just happens to do exactly what we needed to do. The block there is entirely optional. You don't have to do that. It's basically just for swag, because you don't actually need to take the full 9 damage here. We will be taking 1 more bit of damage in a bit. And unlike Thousand Year Door, Mario can't die in the overworld, so it doesn't really matter that if we're at 1 HP and take damage from, say, spikes or lava. But for the sake of safety, I will save here. There is one enemy in particular that I could see myself potentially getting hit by, and I'd rather not lose my life shroom. So this room here is a little tight because of this Klubba, and we're good. And we simply outrun the Sentinels. Easy. And up here we have the Spike Room, which does have a key for this castle. You are intended to use bow to get through this, but you can just move. And there we go, taking 1 more damage. Now we're at 1 HP. And we didn't die. Also right here, this is definitely not a glitch. Definitely not. As Mario gains extra height and goes straight to the bed. And there's our badge. That's Mega Rush. We're going to be using that very soon. And we're good. Almost done with all the Klubbas here. So we don't fight any of the normal Klubbas. But we will be forced to fight Klubbas in Chapter 7. Just of a different variety. Ah. Interesting. I did go a little bit up there, so he didn't wake up, but that's fine. We see the heart block, we say no to it. And over here, we're gonna go right behind Tubba's bed. He's not gonna notice us at all. He's gonna go straight to sleep. And we're gonna open this chest, containing the key to the windmill, where we can fight Tubba's heart. Because Bowser has made Tubba Blubba invincible by removing his heart and locking the heart away inside of the windmill in Gusty Gulch. So by defeating Tubba's heart, we can thus defeat Tubba himself. So right here, there is a frame perfect input that I will try and go for. It saves no time, it loses no time if I don't get it. But it is a frame perfect A button press. Let's see if I get it. I'm basically just mashing A. Didn't get it. So, if you frame perfectly press A at that door, Mario will jump while the door is opening. It does nothing. It's just funny that Mario can jump there. I will also save in Gusty Gulch. Not here, but once I get back to Gusty Gulch. Just for the sake of the fact that I'm in peril. So if you move fast enough there and get lucky, you can skip that text box. I think I was moving fast enough, I just didn't get the luck part of it. Honestly, moving through Gusty Gulch like this feels good too. There's a lot of rooms that just feel good in this game. So this is the windmill. You may notice we haven't equipped any of the new badges we've gotten yet. And we're gonna do that very soon. After I jump over some Goombas. We also still only have 3 BP, which is very important to this badge menu. So I've equipped Power Bounce and Mega Rush. And just take a look at how much damage Mario's gonna do to the heart. So I'm looking for ideally either 2 5 bounces or a 6 and a 4. Okay, that's fine. So if I get another 5 bounce, then I don't have to shell shot again. Okay. So the heart can actually stop your power bounces at 4. A lot of big enemies can do stuff like that. Try and explain that after I get through these rooms. So power bounce caps are going to be very relevant going forward, because there's just a chance, on top of you missing your action command, you could just be told by the game that your power bounce stops now. It's mostly relevant on some of the later bosses, but at least on the heart here, it's just a matter of saving some time. Tubba himself, not much to say. That's about all there is to him. And we're gonna upgrade BP. This is so that we can re-equip Speedy Spin as well as Power Jump, which will be very relevant to have both Power Jump and Power Bounce for literally the next fight that we're gonna do. So Bo officially joins the party. If you say no, she joins you anyway. And we get the Star Spirit that the Boos were holding hostage, and not actually Tubba. After I equip some badges. Those menus felt very long to me, again, because I'm not used to having HP plus anymore. It feels like I have way more badges than I normally do, which is true. I have 1 more than I would in a PB attempt. So this Peach scene is not very complicated. Bowser's going to ask Peach some questions, and we need to choose the best answers. Ideally, It's not too complicated. The third option is the good item in quotation marks, whereas the first two are enemies that we would rather not fight in Chapter 4. Also, we just go straight into... Bowser and Cammy just don't notice as this thing is rotating. I guess he has his eyes closed, and then they just see Peach and don't question how she got there. So she's allowed to keep doing this. So the items I picked there are Mushroom, Thunder Rage, and I believe Fuzzy is the last one, although it's not relevant because we won't ever see it. So Chapter 4 is an interesting chapter. I think a lot of people either love or hate it, because casually that it does expect you to backtrack into Toad Town a lot. We do get to skip some of that because we do already know puzzle solutions, but a little bit of it we can't avoid. We can't do much about, say, giving Gourmet Guy a cake or placing the train. So we do need to get those items, but the dictionary and the mystery note are irrelevant in a speedrun context. And the egg is back. So this is where I'm going to be using the Thunder Rage I picked up earlier. For 5 free damage. Okay, got the block, good. Now that we have Mega Rush and Power Bounce, it's going to be coming into play very often. Pretty much every fight that we do. Okay, we're good. So, you may notice Mario's at 1 HP. He's going to stay like that for pretty much the entire chapter. That means if we get hit, we will be eating the life shroom, and we're going to try and avoid that at all costs. So... Oh no, Shy Guys. So Twink is going to come down and tell us that we have to go defeat Shy Guys in Shy Guys Toy Box. And we will simply go there. So, Bo, by hiding here, the Shy Guys will open the door. And now, for some of the scariest rooms, especially for a beginner, these rooms can be pretty tight. We do have some strats to avoid getting hit. This first room isn't really a big deal. It's more the next room. Cammy does spawn a mushroom here, and we could pick it up and eat it for safety. But I think it's more exhilarating to just go in and not get hit. Interesting. So, that doesn't really matter. This one, you could hit it, or you could just jump. If those fly guys, what are they called? Sky guys? Sky guys. If they hit us, we will die. We will lose a life stream, rather. Not die. I'm doing a lot of safety strats, so the fact that I'm skipping that is probably a little ironic, but this is a chapter I'm fairly familiar with, to the point where I don't think I've gotten hit and died here since I first started running the game. A lot of people did think it used to be purely RNG if you got hit, but there is a lure that you can do. So we're gonna lure a Sky Guy into a position where he won't be able to hit us when we come back. And the chance that the lure doesn't work is incredibly low. So, I'm personally not even worried. Train goes in. And off to Pink Station. Very temporarily. All we're gonna grab here is the frying pan that the Shy Guys stole from Tasty, so that we can get a cake to give to Gourmet Guy. Gourmet Guy is also in Pink Station, blocking the path to Green Station. And here is the Sky Guy that I was just talking about a little bit ago. So we do have to come back that way. And there is a chance that if you don't do the movement that I just did, he could hit you. And you would die. And it would be uncontrollable. But because I lured him so far away, he's pretty much guaranteed to be so far out of the way when we come back that he's not going to be able to hit us. So when I go from this spring, Mario is effectively in lag for quite a while. And that Sky Guy there, if he's closer, he can hit you before you're able to actually move. He came close there, but he was still far enough away that he wouldn't be able to hit Mario. And now we're gonna go and get a cake from Tasty. Tasty makes the best cakes, apparently. The only thing that will satisfy Gourmet Guy is strawberry shortcake? I don't know. We're gonna learn how to make it with Peach later. But Tasty, using her frying pan, fries us up a cake. A single slice of cake. And we're gonna take that to Gourmet Guy, and he's gonna let us go. Over to effectively the rest of this chapter. Because Green Station, while it is the hardest part of the game in the Glitchless speedrun, you're really at no risk, and the room takes very little time. I always joke that it's the hardest thing, because there is a very precise angle you can take to save a few frames. But at the end of the day, Green Station is a solved problem, because we already know the solution to the puzzle. So there's no reason to ever collect the dictionary or the mystery note. Now that Gourmet Guy is satisfied, he will fly off into space. Literally. Honestly, it's a very literal statement. He does leave the cookbook, and we will simply not pick it up. Because there's no reason to. That pyro guy is a little scary if you don't know that he's there. He can be a little tricky to avoid, but the movement is in fact consistent to not accidentally die. If you jump a little too early, you could first strike him and effectively kill yourself. Use a life stream right then and there. But we're gonna go over to Green Station, and you're gonna see exactly why it's either the hardest or the easiest room in the game, depending on how you feel about this movement. So let's see if I can get it. Nope. That was far too down of an angle. So from that platform, if you have the magic angle memorized on your controller, you can actually spin off the platform onto the red switch and trigger it without having to jump on it on the way back. And it is very, very slightly faster that way. And this is Red Station. I don't know why. Well, no, I don't know why they didn't put a heart block in every station. But we do finally get to heal temporarily. And save. I would like to not lose my life stream here. But I don't get a choice if it happens. If it happens, it's completely out of my control. So, this fight against Lantern Ghost, we need to get 2 5 bounces on Power Bounce. And he has a, I think it's a 20% chance or so, 15 or 20% per bounce to just stop at 4. So if he 4 caps you twice, you will just lose a life stream. And here's Goombario. Goombario is faster at hitting the lantern than Bo. They are the only 2 partners, though, that can hit it twice. Okay, we're good. See, now if I die, it's my own fault. And we didn't die. See, this is the power that I've been talking about with, again, Power Bounce and Mega Rush. It's a very relevant setup that's going to carry us throughout the entire game. And we are still at 1 HP. So we don't actually want to hit the heart block before fighting General Guy. We're gonna go into the fight at 1 HP. So that we're already in peril, and we're already just ready to do full damage. And this is an upgrade for what? This is going to be relevant here for a little bit of extra damage, but also relevant for the ending. No, it's not. I lied. So it'll be relevant to the ending if we were doing risky strats, but we're not, so we'll simply be using Paracarry at the end. This is one of the 2 fights where Watt gets to make an appearance. So Watt is honestly one of my favorite partners. She's just really good. And it's a shame that we don't use her more, but she's also just not fast. There are some routes that make more use of her than others, but for the sake of consistency, we're foregoing those options and going more with a para-carry style fight pattern at the end. So the Shy Squad has 15 HP, which is very convenient. Because 6 plus 5 plus 4 is 15. Our bounces start at 6, so Mega Rush is plus 4, Super Boots have a base of 2, for 6 total damage on the first bounce. Power Bounce decreases in power by 1 for every bounce. So 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then it'll keep continuing to be a 1 damage bounce from then on until it either drops or we get capped. This is our only use of Starstorm, or rather should be our only use of Starstorm. It should be the only time we see a Star Spirit power in this run. Unfortunately, for as powerful as the Star Spirits are, they're incredibly slow. And if we have an item to effectively replace them, it's going to be faster. Took that menu a little slow, but that's fine. Better safe than sorry when we're in peril. So Watt has the ability Power Shock. She is able to completely immobilize some enemies like that one right there. And we're going to use a Repel Gel that we picked up in Chapter 3 so that General Guy can't hurt us. General Guy has a 60% chance to use this attack, which is Lightning, and a 40% chance to use a faster attack, which is a Bomb Throw. So ideally he does Bomb Throw. It saves about 3 seconds over Lightning. Double Lightning, nice. Classic General Guy. To be fair, it is a better chance of him doing that than not. But it would have saved about 6 seconds, which is less time than skipping Luigi saves at the end of the game. So if you want to donate to saving 10 seconds and helping the dogs, it'd be greatly appreciated. But that's Chapter 4. The next Peach scene is baking a cake. And I don't know how many bakers there are in chat or listening in general, but I don't know if Peach makes it completely accurately. So we're gonna watch what Peach does, and this may or may not. I wouldn't try this recipe at home, is what I'm saying. That's all. This is one of the longer... No, I think this is the longest Peach segment. Followed by a 2-minute cutscene. So we're gonna go visit Gourmet Guy, who has made his way up to Bowser's castle, Peach's castle. Interestingly enough, when he shot up into space, he literally shot up into space. So, I don't know. I also don't know how he has a key. Who gave Gourmet Guy a Peach's castle key? I don't know. He also doesn't care that Peach is a prisoner. Just blatantly gives her the key. Because he's hungry. So I think I mentioned after chapter 2, at least one Koopa that has laser vision. This is another one. This guy has probably the best vision of any Koopa troll in the game, and Bowser should give him a raise. I've been caught by him, I think 2 times ever, but that's 2 times too many. So let's pay attention to this recipe. The first ingredient is sugar. Seems reasonable. And eggs. Also reasonable. And we're gonna whisk the sugar and eggs together. I feel like this is still, like, pretty reasonable to do. You also don't have to mash this very fast. The prompt is over-exaggerating how fast you have to mash. But I also just mash as hard as I can. So now, flour and butter. Which, I feel like this is reasonable. Like, sugar, eggs, flour, butter. Seems like cake batter, for the most part. Relatively accurate. So now we're gonna bake. I have a timer in front of me for this exact purpose. So Twink tells us to bake the cake for 30 seconds. The actual time for baking the cake is 30 seconds plus or minus 7 in either direction. So you have 23 seconds to 37 seconds to take it out. So if you were bad at counting this as a child, I also was, honestly. It's a very large window, but somehow we still miss it. But I have a timer for 24 seconds just to be safe, because I don't need to take it out at 23 exactly. So, 24 seconds baked. Top it with some cream cheese and strawberries. And we're good. Now we have a 2-minute cutscene. I don't know if Genesis has anything to talk about for 2 minutes, but we're gonna be holding B for a bit.
Oh, not yet. I guess we can, again, push for the active bid wars. We have the Final Fantasy IV sprite choice. We currently have Silly Boss in the lead with $55 over Serious Boss, which is at $15. If you guys have any preferences on there, you can feel free to join that. And then we still have the Bring Abandoned Luigi bid war also going on. Hasn't moved, 62 for Bring and 30 for Abandon. It seems like the runner really wants to save those frames, so why don't we try to help Phantom out here and get Abandon up.
Yeah, so we fed Gourmet Guy. He's gone. Twink went off to tell Mario where to go next, which is Lava Lava Island. So, Muscular is telling Mario, right now, my power is chill out, and you probably will never use this, and we don't. There are some routes where I've seen chill out get used, usually in very safe, like, any percent categories. But in Glitchless, there's no real reason to use it. It's a small debuff on the attack of the enemy, but no reason to need to live longer when you just win fights so quickly with Mega Rush and Power Bounce. And now we have the giant tuna, or the so-called whale. He has a stomach issue because he ate something that is now giving him problems. And we need to go inside and rid him of whatever he ate. As you do. You can get the encounter very early that way. Unfortunately, I was a little too far left, and I also got a very low momentum jump. But sometimes that just happens. The low momentum jump is usually if you input jump and the stick and you get it on the first frame, you just don't get enough height to make it over BuzzFeed. So you're ideally going for a second frame jump in that situation. So now we're in peril again. 4 bounces. We're gonna carry this peril through most of chapter 5, which is a little scary. I'm not gonna lie. I do have a life stream still, so we're safe in that regard. However, losing the life stream and healing is far from ideal in the, what's it called? Jade Jungle. So ideally in Jade Jungle, we keep our peril for the entire time for all 3 fights that we have to do. Also, something I learned recently. If you press A, right there, there was a little prompt above Colorado's head. If you press A there, you soft lock the game. It's very hard to do. It is a frame perfect A press, but it does kill any run that you want to die. I haven't come across a situation yet where I've wanted to kill a run this early, though. It would be a funny way to do so. I am going to grab a hidden item here on the beach. This hidden item isn't required, but for the sake of safety and having just a couple extra backups, I'm going to grab it anyway. This is a repel gel hidden right here. So we do need 1 repel gel for Final Bowser. I'm going to have 2 just in case some things are go a little wrong, but ideally we only need the 1, and usually that is the one that gets skipped on the beach because it's a hidden block and it's not the fastest repel gel to get in the game, technically. You also notice we're not helping Colorado because we don't have to. I think as a kid I would always help Colorado because I assumed that, like, oh, we have to save him. But you can just go right by. It's fine. So I'm gonna save before getting sushi here. Jade Jungle is scary. I would like to not have this save matter, but who knows? Any slight mistake in Jade Jungle could be problematic. So, Sushi stuck in a tree because the Yoshi kids put her there, and we need to go save the Yoshi kids. This is the only category that saves the Yoshis. In every other category in this game, you would either get sushi or not, and then do a trick called Raft Skip to skip the jungle entirely and leave the Yoshis out here. But since that's a glitch, and this is glitchless, we do have to go through and save all 5 Yoshis. And this area is probably some of the hardest movement. Just in general. Because the spear guys in the jungle, getting around them is an adventure on its own. So the badge we just picked up is Power Quake. It does 4 damage AoE to everything. Grounded. And with Mega Rush, that's 8, which is just enough to kill the ambushes here. So that works out pretty well. And we'll be using Power Quake a decent amount over the next few chapters. Up here is a spear guy that we very much do not want to talk to. So we're going to try and lure him away from the bush and kind of get his AI into a state where he doesn't really know what to do. We're going to try at least. Perfect. So he's kind of just stuck over there. If you move in a very particular way, then he is effectively stuck by that tree and just won't approach Mario because he just doesn't know how to get to you. That is probably one of the hardest lures in the game, in my opinion at least. It's very easy to mess it up and just get a couple encounters with that spear guy trying to open the bush. So that is the second Yoshi. This is the third one. There's 2 more. One of them, I'm going to perform a glitch. And arguably, you could say this isn't really a glitch because it is just first striking an enemy. However, on English, there was an attempt to effectively patch the fact that you can first strike a piranha plant with Bombette. So it is considered a glitch just because there was an attempt at removing it from the game. It can still be done on English, but it's a little bit more finicky. So on Japanese, we just come in here, swap over to Bombette, and drop her. In English, you have to swap to Bombette in the previous room. You can't do it in this room. But that's pretty much the only difference. It's not super relevant. Also, very few people run on English. I guess I should talk about that a little bit. I did mention the Japanese saves about 3 minutes in Glitchless, but it's also very just easily accessible. An English cartridge, as you might be aware, does cost an arm and a leg, but Japanese cartridges can be found for $10, $15. They're just not very expensive at all. When I bought my cartridge, in box with the manual, it was $25 after shipping. So if you do want to speedrun this game on N64, I would highly recommend just buying the N64 cartridge over if you already have an English cartridge, you could still do it that way, but if you're just looking to speedrun, the N64 Japanese version is much easier to come by. So this is the Jade Raven. We're going to use this to go into the deep jungle and do a couple puzzles and one more encounter with Bombette and our new friend Power Quake. So we're through the hard part of Jade Jungle, honestly. These next few rooms are pretty straightforward. There's only one possible encounter you'd really have to worry about. And the movement that I do is 100% consistent. You will never get this encounter if you go to where I go here. And I'll try and point it out. So, coming in through here. If you come to this far right side of the bush, that spear guy will just never see you. And here, I already know which holes I need to cover with the blocks. So I'm effectively doing it preemptively. Water puzzle, done. Being someone that's played a lot of the Paper Mario randomizer, there's a glitch you can do in this room to skip the puzzle entirely, but also blocks just move a lot faster in randomizer. Just a little quality of life that the rando devs added. I don't know why they made it so slow in vanilla, but it's just something we have to deal with. So this fight is pretty straightforward. Since we have Peril and 10 FP, it's perfect. Power Quake untimed does 6. And Power Bomb also does 6. These enemies, I believe, have 12 HP. So it just works out perfectly. Dodge the Fire Flower. That Fire Flower drop is really rare. But you can just get sniped by it and lose a few seconds to picking up a pretty worthless item this late. 3 damage AoE is not particularly useful when enemies have much more than 3 HP. So climbing up the tree. I have heard people say that this is, I mean, it is like hard in a sense, even though it's just spinning and jumping. Because any like little mistake, you're like, oh, that little mistake just cost me frames. And after you've been running for a while, it's pretty obvious. It's pretty easy to pick out when you maybe lose a few frames to a late spin or not jumping quite early enough. So, Raph here, the Raven. Ravens apparently don't have wings, but they have feet. He's gonna help us get into the volcano. And the volcano being where we're going to get Ultra Hammer and also fight the 5th chapter boss, Lava Piranha. That Lava Piranha fight is going to be a little complicated, and I'll describe it more once I'm there. But effectively, there's a bit of RNG involved in our power bounce caps. This is where it really comes into play with power bounce. With Lava Piranha, we want to bounce on him 6 times. But that only happens 31% of the time. Because the other 69% of the time, Lava Piranha is going to cap you at 5, 4, or 3. And in those cases, it loses 26 seconds. Or thereabouts. So for a PB attempt, that's a little painful. But you also just have to realize that it's RNG, it's gonna happen. Raph is also gonna give us the Ultra Stone. With the Ultra Stone here, we're gonna be able to upgrade our partners a 2nd time. That's gonna be very relevant for our friend Parakarry. And a partner that we're going to get later, Lackluster. So, the Parakarry upgrade we're going to get in the volcano here for Air Raid, and also extra damage on Shell Shot, honestly. The Shell Shot damage is going to be very relevant for Bowser. So, the movement here is a little tight. It's obviously harder in English, because there's more text in Colorado. But it's still hard in Japanese, to a degree. And first cycle. Yeah, that cycle on English is very, very difficult to hit. Because there's just enough extra text to make it so that platform is further away by the time you get to it. Meaning you have to be really on top of things to get there. So here we're going to pick up our 2nd life shroom. I will be picking up probably 1 or 2 more, depending on how things are. And just pushing these blocks. You can skip these with a glitch, but this is glitchless. It doesn't... It's a little silly, but... It is technically a story trigger, which is one of the definitions we have for glitchless. You can't skip a story trigger, even though it's just kind of playing with paracarry and collision a little bit. Not too different from other stuff that we do in glitchless, but the fact that it's tied to a story trigger makes it relevant. So the Ultra Hammer will see a bit more use than the Super Hammer in terms of like overworld stuff, but in combat, literally only used for Power Quake. Something I haven't really brought attention to with some of the spins I've been doing. Spinning at certain angles into walls will cancel your spin immediately. Effectively meaning you just don't have to jump out of your spin. Because jumping out of your spin is the main way that you do cancel the end leg of the spin animation. But by hitting certain angles on walls, you can save having to jump as well. Like there. Being able to just spin effectively twice in a row. So I'm going to do a badge equip here when I get on the lava platform. This is one of the ones where my menus are a little bit different than what I'm used to because of HP Plus. So this cycle is actually impossible to make. You can't get here on the first cycle. So we just have to wait, no matter what. Nice. So if you jump late enough, with a full jump, you can jump over the block when triggering Colorado's text there. It saves a little bit of time, but usually it's more common that you, if your movement isn't like tight or you're not used to doing that jump, that you land on top of it, which is fine. Again, it's the difference of frames. I don't even think it's a full second in terms of possible time save there. It just feels good to do, honestly, and that's a lot of the tricks in this game with movement. So I overlapped the heart block with Colorado's text. That is very, very tight. In PB attempts, I actually have not been getting that, but it's a very cool little thing. You have to spin at perfect distances, and your first spin in that room has to be shorter than the other two. So you do a spin about 3/4 of your full spin distance, and then 2 full spins at the right angle to hit that heart block and overlap the cutscene. Okay, that was down a lot. The extra repel gel. So I have to block one of Lava Piranha's attacks here. This block is a little later than usual. Fine. A lot of blocks in this game are very early. But so Lava Piranha in particular feels very late when you're supposed to block because it's already overlapping Mario. Okay, we got a 4. Good. So that ends phase 1. Now phase 2, it's effectively a branching list of if-thens for how you do this fight, because it depends entirely on how many bounces you get with Mario. So we're going for 6, ideally. We got 4. So we're gonna switch to Bombette. So if you get 6, all it does is it skips that Colorado animation, and it skips these bulbs spawning more. Spawning the tiny guys. It also means you win the fight in 1 turn, which is obviously faster. But very rarely do you get a 6 cap. So now we have the Volcano escape. This is just effectively a cutscene that we have to move in because the volcano is erupting. This Volcano escape cutscene is actually the source of some very funny glitches that break the game in interesting ways that we will not be showing off. But effectively, in something like any %, you come to the volcano 2 times after Chapter 5 to re-trigger this cutscene and effectively skip Chapters 6 and 7. Because every time you enter this cutscene, what the game does is it increments your chapter count by 1 instead of saying, okay, now you're in Chapter 6 because you just beat Chapter 5. So if you're already in 6, it just increments it to 7. And if you were, say, already in a Chapter 7 state, going through this cutscene puts you in a Chapter 8 state and just sets you ready to go fight Bowser. That's mostly only relevant to any %. All Cards does take advantage of it also. So in something like All Cards, where the goal is to touch all 7 Star Spirit cards, you're able to, basically after beating Chapter 6, come back to Chapter 5, beat it, and the Chapter 7 end cutscene places you at the dungeon for Chapter 7, and re-entering that dungeon sets you back to Chapter 7 and lets you beat it. So you skip a lot of stuff in Chapter 7 in a category like All Cards. And it's also, there's also a category for Reverse All Cards, which visits the volcano 6 times? I think. I want to say 6 times you watch that cutscene. So this is the Chapter 5 Peach scene. We're gonna be doing a quiz. Except our goal is not to win the quiz, because winning the quiz means we get an extra item that we actually don't want. So we're going to intentionally lose the quiz, but lose it in a way that no one wins. So there is not a single winner here. Everyone loses with 0 points in this quiz show, because Peach is only here to ruin the fun of the Hammer Brothers and the Koopa Trolls. Although the quiz questions thematically they're kind of hinting towards stuff that's like places you're supposed to go next as Mario. So this still gives Peach information. So we're just gonna buzz in immediately and answer the first answer for every single one, except for the last one. And this kind of just works out. That was 4. So there are 10 questions here. Not really a whole lot else going on with this scene. 6. You could read the text and kind of see where you are, but it's pretty easy to tell the pattern after a while. So the 9th question is correct when you answer the first answer. And the 10th is also correct if you answer the first, so we answer second to get it wrong. If someone does win the quiz show, the Hammer Brother does give them a jam and jelly. But the participation award is the umbrella. Which is what we actually need. The jam and jelly, acquiring that would simply be like some time lost picking up an item we don't need. And as Peach tries to sneak away and Bowser just immediately notices. Not suspicious at all. So, behind this tree here is actually a jam and jelly, as I was just saying we don't need the one from Peach. We do need a jam and jelly here. We actually do need 2 jam and jellies in total. We'll be getting another one later. There are only 5 in the game, which is a little interesting. There are only 5 of each of the best healing items, so Ultra Shrooms and Jam and Jellies. There's 5 of each. You can get them from the RNG Little Oinks in English. You actually can't get Ultra Shrooms more than the 5 that exist in Japanese. Because in Japanese, the golden oinks that give you Ultra Shrooms in English give you instead a jelly mushroom in Japanese, which is interesting, to say the least. So here is our final magical seed. I haven't been mentioning it too much since the first one, but we can now go to chapter 6 because we have all 5. There's an interesting menu. You may notice I equipped Spike Shield. That's entirely for a fight we're about to do. That I feel like this fight is a little mean, like casually speaking, because it's a flying spiked encounter that if you're not prepared for it, I guess you're just using Paracarry and Starstorm, realistically. So we equip Spike Shield so that we can actually jump on Junior. Because if we couldn't jump on Junior, this fight would be very long. I'm trying to think of what I would do casually. I probably just used Starstorm and Shell Shot, honestly. He only has 20 HP, so it's not a huge deal. But we are also going to intentionally not block because we want to be at 4 HP so that we can easily manipulate Peril coming up here. Because we're going to want Peril in Chapter 6 for our first set of encounters. So, 20 HP. Poor Junior. He's so tired. I actually intentionally don't time the first power jump. It saves literally 1 frame, but it is, quote, 3-time save. Because you don't need the extra damage, and he does talk faster if you miss the action command. Because he will start talking as soon as Mario touches the ground. So, off to Chapter 6 we go. Ignoring all of the NPCs on the way that have new dialogue for us. And giving Minty our 4 magical seeds. 1 by 1. I think casually you're intended to give her the seeds as you find them, but we just end up bringing them to her all at once. Is this live? Yes. And we do have a donation incentive for the end of the run to save 10 seconds or bring Luigi to a party at Peach's castle. We would rather not bring Peach with us. Or bring Luigi to Peach's castle. So I'm gonna hit a save block here. I shouldn't have to, but these mashes are a little difficult. So for the sake of safety, and the fact that I'll be trying to get Peril, might as well just hit that. So these 4 mole fights, we do them in a very particular order. And this is also a good chunk of RNG that I'm about to do. I'm going to do 2 coin flips. So Fright Jar has a 50% chance to work on a mole. And I want it to work on both of them. Unlikely. But we're going to try anyway. Okay. Average. So the reason I'm doing this is because I don't want the XP. I very explicitly don't want XP from these fights. From at least 2 moles worth. Because I'm going to be leveling up on the final set of moles. And I don't want to level up early. So I need 2 of the moles to just not give me XP. So that's why we use Fright Jar. Just for the chance that they run away and save us a lot of time. Fright Jar not working on both loses about 20 seconds. Fright Jar working on one only loses about 10 over double success. So as you see, I'm on the edge of leveling up. So this is that close of XP routing. Any additional encounter anywhere else in the game where we would get more XP from would ruin this set of fights. Because we'd level up early, which we want to avoid at all costs. Okay. So this is the first of 3 items we need in Chapter 6. I know casually a lot of people don't like this chapter, but I think in the speedrun it's probably, in my opinion, the most fun. Just to move. Mount Rugged is obviously also up there, but the movement in Chapter 6 is both really hard, but really satisfying. Because you're trying to avoid a lot of enemies. It's not just moving to feel good at movement. Okay. Okay. That worked, I guess. Are you... okay. That cloud was being very interesting. But we're good. We only have to go through that room one more time. So, not too bad. We're gonna make a quick visit to Lily here. So that she can tell us that she is missing her water stone. Literally her life source. She will die if she doesn't have it. So we're gonna go get the water stone for her. And this is probably where a lot of people, when playing this casually, are like, ugh, backtracking constantly. But as I said, these rooms are hard and satisfying to do correctly. So, give the blue plant the blueberry. I'm gonna get a hidden item here. Please. So the shooting star does 6 damage to all enemies. Starstorm does 7, which would also work, but the shooting star is so much faster than Starstorm that it's actually worth picking up the item. It just makes that much of a difference. That this animation saves you multiple seconds even after picking up the item over clicking a Star Spirit power. So, through the hedge maze we go. And we are going to meet probably the worst character, Rosie. You see, she has the water stone, but it's so pretty that she doesn't want to give it up. So we need to find something even prettier than the water stone. Have I ever raced Giga? Giga has not been active, actually, in the time that I've been speedrunning. Unfortunately. A lot of the older speedrunners have moved on. But there is a current, like, more new wave of Paper Mario speedrunning. Shoutouts to Morpheus, Lopez, MX4, JCog, because I probably wouldn't be doing this if it wasn't for all of them. Interesting. So now that we have the Crystal Berry, we have something that Rosie will take as a replacement for the Water Stone. What is the downside to leveling up slightly early? The downside to leveling up early is that it heals us. And being healed is far from ideal because of Mega Rush. The +4 attack power while being at 1 HP is pretty pivotal to a lot of the fights we're doing. So in places where we'd level up early, it would effectively just mean we have to get Peril again, which would be slow. There's very few parts where it's really easy to get Peril. The times where we do it really aren't out of the way. Junior into moles honestly just works. And yeah, really the only time we go out of the way to get Peril is the Clubbos in Chapter 3. Just because we need it, and there's no other fights in Chapter 3. So, coming up here, we have a bit of RNG. There is a bee that I have no control over, if I get hit by it, it's not actually my fault. Pretty similar to the fly guy I was talking about in chapter 4. Or a sky guy. So I'm gonna grab 2 bubble berries here. Technically I only need 1, but the second one is a good backup. And it's right there. So we're gonna get Lackey. Lackluster is... I guess kind of the reason this route works, but at the same time, combat-wise, he doesn't really help us do anything special. We're going to be using Lackey in Chapter 7 to effectively remove enemies without killing them, so that we don't get XP. Alright, so right here in the bubble, if this bee hits me... Yeah, he moved really far up. I could have tried to lure him down, but at least he didn't actually hit me. That kind of can just happen. He can also just encounter you when you're in the bubble, which is what I was more alluding to. So that shooting star I just picked up isn't for Lackey, but it's for the next fight. No top step. Top step is just getting to this next step before Bombette blows up. It's really frame tight, but again, it's just one of those things that feels cool to do. So also the reason there that I took spike damage was entirely so that I can get Peril in the Lackluster fight. Because Lackey's Spiny that he throws does 4 damage if I don't block it. So if I get hit twice, that gives me Peril, which, as we've been talking about, is very good. So 13 damage seems like a lot. Lackey also does have the chance to 4-cap us on our bounce. If we get 4-capped, the fight is technically faster, but we have to eat an item. Okay. Did not get unlucky. So if he 4-caps us, we have to Shell Shot there, and then we don't have enough FP to use Air Raid in the next fight. So we would have to get a Stinky Herb and eat it to get 5 FP back, which is slower than the faster fight helps. Second option, this is all just a matter of picking the options with the faster text. But now we have Lackey. And Lackalulu flies away, never to be seen again. Gonna take some safer movement here. Not deal with that bee. So Lackey's special ability, as you've just seen, we can ride Lackey over the spikes. That'll be useful in a few places, but for glitch categories, Lackey kind of just breaks the game open, which is where the real fun of Lackluster is. Unfortunately, we will simply be using him as a hurricane bot in Chapter 7. He doesn't even get to be used in fights here, because he just doesn't do enough damage. Switch to Paracarry. My inventory is very full. I guess I didn't need to pick up the second Bullberry because I have a mushroom. Didn't consider that. So here I'm gonna level up HP. This is the only time in the run where we pick HP. And it's only because it works out for fights going forward. So as we're gonna see on Huff and Puff specifically, having 15 HP just makes it very easy to get back into peril. And that's also going to be important for Crystal King. And, well, for Bowser, we're going to have 20 HP because of HP Plus badge. But having the 15 base makes that also work out. If this were like any percent, we would be fighting Bowser with 10 HP. And it would be very scary. Thankfully, this is not. So we're going to upgrade Lackey once. The ability he gets here is Cloud 9. We're never going to use it. Cloud 9 just makes it so while the buff is active on Mario, enemies have a 50% chance to miss. So adding more RNG wouldn't be necessarily in our favor. I'm gonna take a sip of water while this beanstalk is growing. So this cutscene, it's pretty long. There's a badge up in the clouds we're gonna grab called Super Jump Charge. It's the third member of the Paper Mario Trinity of badges, I guess you could say. Between Power Bounce, Mega Rush, and Super Jump Charge. This is what makes Mario incredibly broken. So Mega Rush gives you +4 attack while you're at 1 HP. And Super Jump Charge gives you +3 attack to your next jump. And it can be stacked. So as long as you keep jump charging without jumping, that +3 just keeps going up to +6 and +9 and +12, etc., etc. So you combine that with Mega Rush and Power Bounce, and you are one-shotting enemies effectively. Which is what we're going to try and show on Huff. I refreshed the room there just to hit a faster cycle in this cloud. That's pretty much it. So, Super Jump Charge. And this is also the first time I'm equipping Damage Dodge, which is a badge I picked up in Chapter 2. But that's because this is where it finally comes into play on Huff and Puff. More specifically, it comes into play on some encounters in Chapter 7, but we don't rebadge until then anyway. It's fine. So I'm going to go for a 4 on his wind attack. Good. Just so I don't have to block his stomp, basically. Okay. And there's the boss. So, Mega Rush, 2 Super Jump Charges kind of just shows how powerful Mario can be. And the funny part about that is Bowser still makes it difficult. So most of the bosses, if you plan accordingly, you don't really get to see what they do. Huff and Puff has actually 2 attacks that you didn't see because we just beat him that hard. And he has an entire mechanic around spawning the little rough tufts. And those rough tufts do damage to Mario, where you have to mash out of the attack. But we just ignore that completely and kill him with our first attack. So the attacks that we skipped, Huff and Puff has a lightning attack that does 12 damage. He has to charge it first, but it's still really big damage. And if he's at 5 or less HP, he can do a massive attack that does somewhere around 20 to 25 damage. But we just never see that. I think even casually, it's probably pretty rare to see his 5 HP attack. Just because 5 HP is such a small number, you're likely to have just killed him before that. Especially if you're good at action commands. But I have seen that attack play a role in Randomizer, where I just didn't have quite enough damage to kill him, and then he drops a big 20 damage on my head. So this is the umbrella that we got earlier. Peach is able to transform into any of the enemies around here. It's only used for this one scene. Specifically just so that we can transform into this Klubba and get to the top of Peach's castle. This Klubba is supposed to be on guard duty, but he's asleep. So we just simply transform into him and take his place. In a very funny category, I've mentioned it briefly before, reverse all cards. You see this cutscene 3 times, which is it is the second longest Peach scene, I think, just because of how much movement you have to do with Peach, but also because of how reverse all cards works. You just kind of end up having to watch this scene multiple times. And the window is still broken from the beginning. Bowser, what are you doing? Fix the window. You have magical star rod power. Could you not just, like, patch that up? So, we're just gonna go up here. Scene is basically over. Just holding B at this point. And back to Toad Town. Well, Flower Fields first, I guess. So, normally you might find your way to Chapter 7 and realize that the door is locked, but here we are, already triggering the ninja to go unlock the door for us. And we have to do a couple things before going to 7. We're gonna fight a blooper and get Ultra Boots. So, this blooper fight is really, like, nothing special. Just, 2 charges. And 2 blocks. And blooper's done. So down here in the sewers, this is some pretty tough movement. So I'm just gonna take this a little carefully. Okay, we're good. So that's sewers movement. If I don't do that perfectly, I could get first struck here and lose some HP that I ideally just don't want to deal with. So right here before Chapter 7, we're going to upgrade Lackey a second time. This is going to give us Hurricane, which we're going to be making heavy use of. After, of course, we effectively watch some cutscenes. Not a whole lot happening in the first part of Chapter 7. We just go over here, see that the mayor is dead, get blamed for the murder, and we have to solve it. A lot of walking for the first, like, bit of this chapter.
It looks like we're having some stream issues. Would it be possible for you to pause just for a moment?
Absolutely.
Yeah,
This is
we're
a
having
fine
a little
time.
bit of instability on the stream, so we're gonna try to get it back together in just a moment.
Sure.
It appears it might be a Twitch problem, but yeah, we're gonna hope it all comes back together. Everything's stuttering. We're having a bit of a poor connection, so just making sure to let you know. So as soon as you finish the talking section, we'll just pause it.
And good.
I'll pause the timer when that comes up. Yeah, we're just going to wait a little bit for it to stabilize. Apologies to everyone watching. This is happening. Not sure what's going on, but we're just going to hopefully wait for it to stabilize. Hopefully it won't take too much longer. Kind of patiently waiting for the stream to catch up.
Yeah, I have it open.
All right, it looks like it's stable now. We're going to restart the timer when you're ready to continue, and then we'll just let it go.
All right. I'll just give a countdown before I'm going to start moving. 3, 2, 1, go. All right. So it looks like we're back. And I am going to just break the ice here with Mario using our new fancy tornado jump. You can do this with super boots as well, but honestly, yeah. There's actually very few things in the game that require ultra boots glitchlessly. In fact, it's only one thing in Bowser's Castle. So the fact that we grab it here is just mostly for damage and that it's convenient. So, murder almost solved. And then we're gonna fight, again, Junior Troopa. So, this Junior Troopa fight is a little tough. I'm gonna save beforehand. I do have to hit 2 blocks, and these blocks are probably the hardest block in the game. For most people, at least. The hardest blocks that we actually have to hit, at least. We're also going to be using Paracarry. There is a chance that Junior Troopa can 4-cap us on our power bounce. So, in the case of a 4-cap, we need extra damage from Paracarry in order to actually win the fight. If you were crazy enough to want to save about 6 seconds, you could skip the attacks with Paracarry in the Junior Troopa fight. And if you happen to just get the 5-cap that you want, great. But if you get 4-capped in that situation, you do die. So it is not necessarily advised to do so. So, we're gonna hit the save block up here in Shiver City. If I do miss a block, if I miss the first block, there is a backup we can do. If I miss the second block, then I kind of just eat the life shroom. But that's fine. There are plenty of life shrooms in Chapter 8. So, Junior Troopa. This time he's learned magic. What do you know? He's basically just going through all of the Koopa abilities. He's now a Magic Koopa. So he's gonna throw magic at us. That block is very early, to say the least. And I think that's what messes up people the most. And we got the 5-cap. Well, not even 5-cap. Nice. We could have kept bouncing, but no real need to. So Junior put us in peril, which, as we've already learned, is very important. Because we have one more fight to do in Chapter 7 before going up to Crystal Palace. And that is with the fearsome Monstar. He gives us a chance to back away, too, and not fight him. And we beat Monstar. So, not necessarily the scariest boss in the game. Technically a boss. Technically a boss. As far as technicalities go, at least. So, Merly here, he's gonna give us an ancient relic passed down to him for generations, with which we can use to get to the Crystal Palace. This ancient scarf, weaved by his ancestors, I guess. And now that we've talked to Merly, we know that there's another ancient relic in Shiver City that the mayor has. So, I'm gonna go back to Shiver City. Grab that. I'm also gonna grab a repel gel on the way. This is the fast repel gel I was talking about earlier. In basically every category that needs a repel gel, you're gonna just grab that one because it is just the most convenient to do. The only reason to really get a second is for safety, but that one in particular is just a freebie. So I'm gonna go in here. So I've been switching in this room because you can't actually go through the door until the other door behind you falls to the ground. So you can effectively overlap your partner swaps with that little door falling animation. And Koopa is just the next partner I need. So we're gonna use this ancient bucket and the scarf to open the way to the Crystal Palace. We're actually gonna be meeting a set of enemies called Ghosts. And that's kind of the core of the Crystal Palace, is the theme of mirrors, and Ghosts kind of fit the mirror theme. So the mirror itself isn't actually a mirror, but we'll learn that like when we go inside. It's just kind of like to fake you out and think it's a mirror. This room up here is actually pretty funny. The movement that we do avoids a what's it called? Avoids encounters in a very funny way because they literally don't even see you. So this first Gulpit will see me, but he doesn't really get to me in time. And by hugging the wall here, those plants just miss you entirely. It's just very funny. And now we have two Koopas. One of them's even flying. Not anymore. So, we're gonna see our good friend Lackey, and I need to reposition my chair a little bit for this because I need to be in a position to mash this move. So, Lackluster, Hurricane. So I need to press A and B on exactly the same frame, and I need to mash it very quickly to fill that bar. And we're going to be doing that 5 more times in the run. Yes, Afterlife, exactly. Spinning is by far the fastest movement option, and the jump at the end is just to cancel the end lag. So now we have more Mario falling asleep to wizards talking to him. So, typical Mario fashion. Falls asleep, doesn't listen to the story. Starstone acquired. So that was the first use of Hurricane. There's 4 more times in this chapter. And then there's 1 instance of its use in chapter 8. The reason we're using Hurricane is because we don't want XP. The way our XP is laid out means we level up in very specific spots, and specifically, on top of that, we don't want to level up when fighting Junior Troopa and Bowser in Chapter 8. We want to take Peril from Junior all the way to Final Bowser, just for the damage. So we want to make sure that we absolutely don't level up in those situations. So that's the concept effectively behind using Hurricane here, is just to manipulate our XP in such a way that we don't level up when we don't want to. Now, Crystal Palace has a bunch of rooms on effectively mirrored, but they're not really like exactly the same. But conceptually, the entire dungeon is mirrored, and things that you do on one side will affect the other. So, we're gonna switch to the blue door, use the blue key, so that we can go to the other side of the mirror. It's like, oh, it's a mirror, right? There's Mario and Bombette. But wait, it didn't blow up. And there's Mario and Bombette. So we're gonna switch over to Lucky again and get ready to mash. So to get an idea of what I'm doing, it's kind of hard because I can't I need to hold B and also be able to press A. But I'm putting my middle finger and index finger very close together and effectively mashing A and B as if it's one button by just kind of holding my fingers close together as tightly as possible. It's not necessarily the best way to mash, but it's the way that works for me. I know people that have said they use their index finger and their thumb. But Hurricane Mash in general kind of makes or breaks a glitchless run. Because if you can't fill the bar, that means your Hurricane is RNG. And that's very much not what you want to see at the end of this run. 3 hours in, losing it to Hurricane not working on an enemy. When Hurricane doesn't work, effectively what you have to do is use Refresh, the Star Spirit ability, and then just Hurricane again until it works. Because by the end, we are about 6 star points away from leveling up on Hallway Bowser before Final. And if we level up there, we miss out on a lot of damage. Which is very, very integral to how this route is planned. So, we're gonna Hurricane 3 more times in a row. This is probably one of the hardest rooms until you get good at Hurricane effectively. these mashes are actually very difficult. It may look easy because I am maxing them, but this mash took me probably 6 months before I was like consistently maxing them. Since we're mashing, I'll talk about another thing this game has. If you mash too quickly in Paper Mario, it will actually drop your inputs. Because the game it looks for your inputs every 16 milliseconds. Hold on. It takes your inputs at 16 milliseconds, but it only processes them at 32 milliseconds. So if you hit a button during a 16 millisecond interval where it is not actually being processed, you lose that button press. So if you frame perfectly, effectively 60 frames per second, frame perfectly mash, the game thinks you're holding the button down because it never registers that you let go of it. It's rarely an issue to have the problem where you mash too fast, but it is a thing that can happen to people. So being aware of it is honestly very valuable. So I don't know which one the real Koopa is. I'm just gonna guess. Pretty sure it's not you. He is a turtle, but maybe he looks a little different. Hey, we guessed right. That's the real Koopa. Yeah, so effectively mashing in this game is more of a rhythm than it is just about going as fast as possible. We're gonna grab a Jam and Jelly here. This Jam and Jelly is gonna be used at the end of the game. And down here we're gonna grab a badge. We could equip this badge for Crystal King, but it is technically slower to do so. So that's P up, D down. What it does is it increases our attack power by 1 and decreases defense by 1. So combine that with damage dodge and we actually get a sort of perfect setup for manipulating peril on Bowser. Unfortunately, we're not going to be going for that manip on this run because there is a little bit of RNG involved with that manipulation. This duplicate ghost is actually kind of hard to avoid. If you go just barely too far up here, you hit the pole, like what just happened. This movement is pretty specific. There we go. Got it on the way back, though. So, almost to Crystal King. I will be saving beforehand because this fight does have some inherent risk because of how I have to do it. I will be blocking a lot of attacks on Crystal King. So this is probably the most attacks that I will be blocking in a fight outside of effectively Bowser. And they're very fast. So, I'm just gonna kind of let the fight speak for me. Hit the heart block, save, and kind of just like show. We're going to be abusing Peril, obviously, and Super Jump Charge. Just like we did on Huff, we need to manipulate Peril by blocking Crystal King's attacks. Or not blocking in specific cases. So, that's fine. I can get Peril. So I've only charged twice. A little bit of a problem. I need to charge one more time. I'm gonna just use my Repel Gel. Come up with a backup that way. If this doesn't work at all, just reset the console and try again. I'm gonna do nothing with Paracarry. Go for a 5 bounce, basically. Okay. This run has had a lot of backups, but they've worked out. It just kind of comes down to knowing the fight, coming up with backups on the fly. That does mean I only have one Repel Gel, but that's not a huge deal. You do normally only have one for Bowser. There's a very, very low chance of a fight where you ever need two. And that's Chapter 7. So we're going to be going to Chapter 8. I'm actually going to make sure I'm set up so that I can do some stuff. Because I'm going to have to turn off the lights. Luckily, I have a button that I can press to just turn off the lights in my room. Because there will be a very dark room that you will probably not see on stream. But I will be able to see it on my monitor, trust me. So we're gonna just hold B through this cutscene. Do a quick badge equip after. And start going to Chapter 8. Chapter 8 is obviously the longest chapter. I think there's 50 rooms in Bowser's Castle. We don't go to all of them, but there's a lot that we still do have to go to. Okay. So you may notice that there's a little blue, like, spiral around Mario now. The badge that I equipped is Dizzy Attack. So if I spin into an enemy, they become dizzied on turn 1. That also means that it beats out getting first struck, which will be relevant in exactly one room. But more importantly, when enemies are dizzied, it becomes easier to run away. And we're gonna use that runaway to give us iframes. To effectively skip some very hard encounters in Bowser's Castle. By running away from much easier encounters. So since we're going into Chapter 8, that does mean we're getting, you know, 30, 35 minutes away maybe or something from that bid war being over. So, if you want Luigi to stay at home or come to Peach's Castle for the party, that's up for grabs. If we leave Luigi at home, we do save 10 seconds.
It hasn't moved yet, so the numbers are still the same. So 62 for Bring Luigi and 30 for Abandon. So just let me know, of course, when it's come up, and I'll tell you what final verdict is if it shifts at all.
Yeah. We'll probably just close it when we kill Bowser. There will be a few minutes of cutscenes after that, but it's a pretty decent time.
All right.
So, the Star Spirits open the path to Star Road. Star Road has 3 enemies on it that we will hopefully avoid. This movement is pretty tough just because of how narrow Star Road is, and the depth perception is a little messy. You can probably tell that just looking at it. Like, where are the enemies in 3D space? It's a little confusing. But the movement is... There's a lot of different movement methods, and they're all consistent in their own way, if you just are consistent in what you do, honestly. So we're gonna take the magical bathtub up to Bowser's Castle. And I do still have Bombette out. It would technically be faster to get into the bathtub, as we call it, if I had a flying partner. But we do need Bombette immediately in Bowser's Castle for a fight. And for blowing up a wall. So we just eat the whatever 1 extra frame she takes to get in the back, to get inside, to jump in. Yeah, Mario flying through the stars as the Toads have no idea what it is. They think it's a shooting star. Makes sense. They're all making their wishes. And Bowser's Castle. The movement in Bowser's Castle is going to be generally very difficult. This is a Mario game, and this is probably where it shows it off the most in terms of just like platforming. We do end up doing a lot of platforming in Bowser's Castle. A lot more than really anywhere else in the game. So, we kill these Koopa trolls. Get just enough XP to where the next encounter we do will level up for the final time. This room here is definitely very scary. And I wouldn't be surprised if I got an encounter there. But we're making it through. No encounters so far. This next segment is all platforming. I am gonna grab the life shroom in the jail here. It's not required, but I might as well. I still have my 2. But having 3 can't hurt. That's Cooper. Goodbye. So this is what I mean by platforming. I tried to make a cycle there. Yeah. Now I have to wait for this to move. And this part in particular, like, you wouldn't necessarily think to use paracarry, but you definitely can. You can definitely just make this jump. If I jumped. I made it, but it didn't matter. The platforming in Bowser's Castle is very, very tight. Ah. Really? There we go. And that's what I was trying to do. So, a lot of just paracarry movement, jumping. I'm gonna switch to Lackey in this room, and we're gonna ride him on the lava. See if I can get a very funny thing with this upcoming platform here. And we got it. So the platform basically just didn't go all the way. I'm not sure why that happens, but it's possible when you use Lackey there from the previous room. I don't know if it actually saves time, but it is just kind of funny. And this here is going to be the last time we level up. This fight up here with 3 Koopa trolls, and hopefully a Magic Koopa that runs away. Estimated the Magic Koopa has a 75% chance to run away. And if it doesn't, it's not a huge deal. We actually should be able to kill it and be fine. But ideally, it just leaves. Okay. I'm gonna turn off my light. Just basically preparing for some movement coming up. I'm sure I look very washed out on stream, but if I have my light on, I can't see in the next room, so. When, I wonder on stream it probably looks like nothing when I get in there. This movement that I'm going to be doing is very specific in practice. Like, this is probably one of the rooms I practice the most. Just because it's called Blind Basement. You are intended to use Watt here, and I'm just gonna move. Okay. And we're through Blind Basement. I can turn my light back on. So yeah, on stream that probably just looked like pure darkness. Don't be fooled, I can see it on my monitor. At least a vague outline. But the movement that we do there is very specific, but it's also consistent. It's hard to describe what it is without doing it while literally doing the movement, but that is easily one of the coolest rooms, and it's only seen in this category. Just because we have to do it in pure darkness, without the intended use of Watt. The enemies in that room in particular are positioned in such a way that you're probably going to hit them if you don't know exactly what you're doing. And this is the flood room. Self-explanatory, kind of. We're just using sushi to swim around. And up here is the only instance of the Ultra Boots actually being required to progress. Is that block. So that block is the only reason that you wouldn't be able to come to Bowser with Super Boots glitchlessly. Which in a way is kind of funny, because I imagine someone just never found Ultra Boots, maybe. Although it's kind of like in the way to Chapter 7. I'd imagine that there's someone out there that didn't find them and came here without Ultra Boots. The next room, though, is the cannon room. And the cannon room is very scary, but it's also where we're going to be putting Dizzy Attack to use. So we're going to be effectively spinning directly into bullets to encounter them and also dizzy them, so that they're easy to run away from, so that we can then use our iframes from running away to skip the cannon fights. The cannons themselves, if encountered, are very, very difficult to run away from. And they can't be dizzied, so Dizzy Attack won't work on the cannons themselves. But it does happen to work on the bullets. So we're gonna just hope that this works as planned. Easy. So yeah, now that we're invincible, spin right through the cannons. I'm gonna wait for that bullet to go. Okay. Second cannon. So as I mentioned probably a long time ago now, picking up coins means you have coins to drop. It's fine. As long as we run away, we don't get the XP, so we're fine. I will need to hit the heart block, but otherwise that's fine. So this is a glitch. By spinning into that bone with Dizzy Attack and Sushi as my active partner, the dry bones forget how to throw bones. So that glitch is only relevant in Glitchless because of Sushi being our active partner entering that room. And it's also due to the nature of like why it happens, it's not banned. Because that same interaction can happen with Spear Guys in Chapter 5 when you're getting off sushi. And those interactions are unavoidable. So banning the glitch itself from Glitchless is just kind of not worth it. So we're gonna hit the heart block here. And we have another quiz. This quiz we have to get right. But it's also the same every time. So I could do this blindfolded if I really wanted to. This is almost a 2-minute quiz. 5 questions. The answers are always the same. It's also always 1 1 2 1 1. So you can almost get by the quiz by just mashing A. If you get a question wrong, the answers for 6 and 7, I think it's either 3 2 or 2 3. But it's either until you get 5 right or 3 wrong. If you get 3 wrong, you actually get to fight a boss here. So there are 2 categories that intentionally fight the boss because it's all bosses is one of them, and the other category is Glitchless 101%, which also it's effectively 100% but includes the bosses also. So 2 categories where you actually have to get this quiz wrong to fight the boss, which is 3 anti-guys at once. They're the same type of anti-guy that you see in Chapter 4, except there's 3 of them. Not entirely true, they are a little bit different, because these anti-guys are more resistant to shock. The Chapter 4 anti-guy has a 60% multiplier effectively on shock, so that'd be Watt's power shock ability, whereas the ones in here have a 50% multiplier, so they're a little bit harder to stun, but not much. Alright, and we're coming up on Junior Troopa. Well, Junior Troopa and some Duplicos, I guess. So, we just saw Duplicos in the previous chapter. We're going to be fighting another group of 4. Just some more platforming, grabbing a key. Puzzle solving with Koopa, you gotta hit the switch. This puzzle here, always the same. You can just know by looking at the lanterns what the actual path is. I have watched people play this game casually and just guess and check the path for these rooms, which I can kind of understand. I probably did that as a kid too, without realizing what the lanterns at the start meant. Well, at the end of Bowser's Castle... Hey, it's Peach. This is probably one of the more, like, obscure interactions. Knowing that you have to hit her 3 times. To start the fight. May not be, like, super obvious. And that's the last hurricane. No more AB mashing. That was also not the last badge equip I'm going to do. I was about to say it was, but it's not. I will be doing one more badge equip. But this fight here is 100% consistent as long as you hit blocks. So, it's not too bad. You are effectively guaranteed to kill this junior. You only need a 4 bounce. We are explicitly using bow also to get extra turns to charge. So effectively just 3 extra turns of charging on top of Peril, and Junior doesn't stand a chance. And he 4-capped me. Honestly optimal for the safe fight, but there is a risky version of that fight that does less charges. And in the situation where he 4-caps you during the risky fight, you do die. So we're gonna go up to Hallway Bowser, which again is a incredibly consistent fight. Hallway Bowser is actually just not a threat, which is funny because in some categories this is actually the like blocker. If you're doing any percent at a world record level, this fight just kills you most of the time. But because we have bow and we're coming in with Peril, there's really nothing Bowser gets to do about it. Even if he gives us worst possible power bounce caps, he will still die in 4 turns. Five, good start. Okay, fire is one of his slowest attacks. That's fine. I do joke that getting a 4 and a 5 cap is like my most common RNG, but it really is. By the way, the Star Shield doesn't make him invincible. I said this earlier, it only gives him some defense. And because we're in Peril, jump times 1 with a 4 and a 5 cap actually kills him while he has Star Shield up. So I'm going to save before final. The fight that I'm doing should be 100% consistent. But at the same time, I only have 1 Repel Gel. So there's probably a very, very low chance that this is an issue. It's just very unlikely that Bowser causes me problems here. Do not forget to rebadge me. I do need to change my badges here. Not that one. So I'm taking off Super Jump Charge and Speedy Spin to be able to put on HP Plus. Which may seem weird. I'm in Peril. I'm going to be healed after the first 2 turns. And being at 20 HP means that I get to live effectively an extra turn, dealing damage to Bowser. Which is what I want. I want that extra turn of damage on Bowser. And it works out perfectly as long as I hit every single block when I need to hit them. Recap. Ideally, I get a 3 and a 4 cap. Double 3 cap can be worked around, but it's not as good. Okay, 4 cap. So this is kind of perfect RNG for the safe fight. We're gonna Starbeam, see that it doesn't work, and we're gonna get to watch Peach and Twink fight Cammy. I say watch because even though I'm pressing buttons, I'm not really influencing anything. So when we come back to the Bowser fight, effectively what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be power jumping and shell shotting every single turn. I'm going to eventually die once and lose a life shroom. And then the next time that I take damage, I'm going to be activating my Repel Gel. Whether that's at 3 HP or 1 HP. It's going to be one of the two. And ideally it'll be 1 HP so that I can be in peril and power bounce. But if I'm at 3 HP, the goal is to continue power jumping and shell shotting until he dies. And it should work out as long as I hit all of my blocks. That he will die and I cannot lose. This fight is very clean, but it can be a little slow compared to more optimal fights that use super jump charge. But for the sake of safety, it's more important, honestly. Okay, Cammy should have one more attack after this one. Yep. Don't really pay much attention to this fight, and I will have to just concentrate on Bowser, make sure I hit the blocks. There are some scary blocks. There are some scary attacks he does to block. Specifically, lightning is a big one. He can't do lightning until turn 4, but that is a important thing to be able to block. So Twink is gonna effectively upgrade our Star Beam to Peach Beam, and we're gonna fight Bowser. He should just die. Eventually. And we'll have to close the incentive, so if you want to, you know, put in any bids towards save or abandon or bring Luigi, this is your last chance. Alright. So this is going to be where we use Paracarry. Paracarry, everyone's favorite partner casually, probably. I know he was mine. Shell Shot's just too good. Also, fun fact, Shell Shot can't miss Bowser. So you just flick the stick back and it will always hit him. This is the kind of RNG I wish Bowser would give me in PB attempts with his attack pattern. But that's fine. Alright, Bowser. Calm down. Yeah. He should shield this turn. He should have shielded last turn, honestly. This is a pretty late shield. But at the same time, we're fine on damage because I get to power bounce him. He's probably dead this turn or the next turn. Cool. And he's dead. GG Bowser. So, now that we've defeated Bowser, we do have about 6 minutes of cutscenes. There's a little bit of movement. So we don't end time on Star Rod. The reasoning for that is because, again, the movement at the end. We will do a few spins, and time will end when Peach puts her hands up in the final cutscene. But in the meantime, I'm assuming we're bringing Luigi with us.
Yes, there was no movement, so bring Luigi won with $62 over Abandoned Luigi at 30. So we're going to be losing that time.
10 seconds. It's not a huge deal, but it's a shame. We have to watch Luigi go to the castle. In the meantime, I'm really just holding B. This is a good enough time to start doing outro stuff. Phantom5800 on Twitch and YouTube. I play this game a lot. I'm currently going for a 349 PB, and I've been grinding that for the past few weeks. Only a matter of time at this point. Doing a much different route than what I did tonight, not just because of all the backups I had to do, but because of the Bowser fight in particular is effectively a coin flip in the faster route. So that's a fun time. I lost a PB pace run today because of Bowser's attack pattern. He just decided to take away my ability to use items, unfortunately. So, I mean, that's what I do. I stream pretty often, not at this particular time, but like 12 hours earlier or later, depending on how you want to look at it. But yeah, this was a fun run. No glitches allowed is a very good cause and a very good event to run for, honestly. I've enjoyed every event that I've done with you guys.
We're definitely glad to have you.
So yeah, I'm just I guess I'll give some shout outs. I've got another like 4 minutes. I got into this game because of Morpheus080, Real B Lopez, MX_4. Like, they were running this game a year, 2 years before me, and they still do sometimes. But just watching them, like, about 18 months ago, I was like, yeah, I see what you're doing. I could do that. So that's when I started, was like July of last year. And this game is honestly really fun to run. The resources are probably, not gonna lie, of all of the games I've speedrun, the Paper Mario resources are the best at just getting into the game. So, if anyone out there ever wanted to speedrun this game, it's honestly not that bad. Like, the RNG is very minimal until you get like really, really good times. And it's kind of fun just to like do. So, the resources are out there. Jcog actually has a very good tutorial video on Glitchless that just basically walks through the route and explains stuff. for the beginner route specifically. So, very, very fun run. Very good resources. I need to make sure I don't touch my control stick here. So the way that Luigi Skip works, which we're not doing, if you hold down at the end of this cutscene, you skip Luigi going into the pipe. So as long as I don't touch the control stick, we're not skipping Luigi. It's really just that simple. And since this is just a long cutscene, I can very easily see someone just being like... I think someone has been in the situation where they're just spinning the control stick and accidentally, like, hit down and skip Luigi. Which I believe. It's honestly not surprising if that's happened to someone. So, Luigi's gonna get the mail. We're gonna leave the house. My hand is off the controller. I'm simply holding B with my right hand, left hand, not doing anything. Mario goes in the pipe, and Luigi goes in the pipe. We have successfully brought Luigi with us. And now he has to talk to us. Goodbye, Luigi. And as I spin my way to Peach's castle, this is pretty much just the end of the run. There's gonna be about 20 seconds, and then when Peach puts her hands in the air, that's gonna be time. So, very, very shortly. As she thanks everyone for everything they've done. All of Mario's friends except Mario. And... time. I'm just looking at the stream to see what time it was. Nice. That's not a bad time for all of the backups. So, fun run. I basically already did my outro, so I'm kind of just good here. We don't need to watch the credits. Unfortunately, this would take too long and go overestimate. So, thanks for having me, guys. And I'll be back in a couple days to run Mega Man Battle Network 6. So I should probably be playing that for a little bit.
So we're happy to have you. And the next run up after this is going to be Sonic Riders DX. So everyone stay tuned for that. That will be in just a short while.